What is up, Star Wars fans? Welcome to the Star Wars Stop. This is going to be the entire plot of Solo: A Star Wars Story, and I'll tell you when the spoilers start. So obviously I'll be spoiling the entire plot of the film, but at first, just give you my philosophy on it a little bit. Now, if you want to go in fresh and have no prior knowledge, then obviously don't watch this video. But if you don't really care, you think, hey, it's a standalone film, it's kind of, how much could happen, and maybe if you're not too convinced about going to see it in the first place, because I know a lot of people are in that boat, then maybe you do want to watch this, just kind of get a full plot and understand what you're getting into. But without any further ado, getting into the entire plot for Solo: A Star Wars Story. Okay, massive spoilers ahead from this point forward. The film starts with text, not an opening crawl. Just like Rogue One didn't have an opening crawl, the standalone films are not going to have the traditional crawl, but it does give us some text, which is making sense because if you're in the general audience, you're going to get so confused with them jumping all over the timeline. You need some kind of explanation of where we are. The film begins with Han and Qi'ra as boyfriend and girlfriend on Corellia. They're trying to leave, though. They're trying to get the hell out of there, and they end up trying to bribe an Imperial officer. Unfortunately, they do get separated, and Qi'ra is actually captured by gangsters. Han joins the Imperial military. That's his ticket out of Corellia. And when he's there, he's alone, and the Imperial officer is like, hey, what's your last name? And he didn't have one, so he gives him the nickname Solo. So there you have it. That is how Han got his name, Han Solo. Then we get a 3-year time jump to Solo fighting on Mimban as an Imperial soldier. Obviously not the glorious life that he had kind of outlined for himself in the trailer when he said he wants to be the best pilot in the galaxy. He's actually just some soldier fighting in the mud on Mimban. And there's a brief note, that'll probably be the map they end up dropping for the Battlefront 2 DLC. I wouldn't be surprised if Mimban ends up being the map. That'd be pretty cool. But then, anyways, getting on, while on Mimban, Han sees Beckett, Vale, and the team, and they're disguised as Imperial soldiers. So Han figures out that they're on some sort of a job because their uniforms are battle damaged, and they don't look injured at all. So Han sees a big red flag, and he calls them out on it, and he tells them he wants to join them. But they refuse. They don't want Han to join them. So Han says, okay, I'm going to go and tell on you to the Imperials. And that's what makes Beckett have to act first. So Beckett goes to the Imperials and tells them, before Han can tattletale on him, he tells the Imperials that Han is trying to desert. This makes Han get sent to an Imperial prison camp, and that is where he meets Chewbacca. So super cool how they get that meeting in the prison camp. Together, they end up escaping, which catches the attention of Beckett and his crew, and they allow them to join their team. This leads to a job where they're trying to steal fuel cells from a train. Now, this is obviously what we've seen. They've been marketing the hell out of that scene in every trailer. You always see that train. That's what that is. That's the train heist. Enfys and her gang, Enfys Nest that is, are also trying to steal the fuel cells and from Han and friends. And this is when we get some actual deaths. So Vale needs to sacrifice herself, and Rio, the pilot, actually ends up dying as well. So we lose 2 characters right there. Han is forced to step up and actually pilot because of Rio dying, but unfortunately, the fuel cells that he's carrying, he has to drop them for some reason, so they lose the fuel cells. Beckett, Han, and Chewie go to Voss's hangout. This is the gangster that they were planning on trying to sell the fuel cells to. And Han sees that Qi'ra is now actually Voss's girlfriend, which makes him uncomfortable. Obviously, they're exes. Beckett has a new plan to get the fuel cells from Kessel to sell to Voss. So that's his new way of, making a profit. Qi'ra proposes that they use Lando, and Lando obviously has a very fast ship. Geez, I wonder what ship that is. That's what Qi'ra says, that she has a friend that has a very fast ship. Han and Qi'ra and Chewie and Beckett go to see Lando, this is where we see the Sabacc game that's in the trailers. Now, Han plays Lando for the Falcon because Han wants to get the Falcon, but he ends up losing, and that's actually because Lando cheats. He has a cheat card that he uses, and it's in his sleeve, so unfortunately Han loses. And so even though Han loses, though, Lando and his droid agree to join the team and help steal the fuel cells. So Han and Qi'ra have a scene when they're alone. They actually kiss, which is nice. They obviously still have some sort of relationship dwindling there. On Kessel, things go bad, and L3, who is Lando's droid, is shot and torn in half. She was actually trying to save some robot prisoners, which makes a lot of sense because if you read Last Shot, L3 is apparently super into droids having this higher consciousness, and she wants them to kind of be seen as more than property. She cares about droids a lot. Chewie, on the other hand, tries to save some Wookiees. They get off Kessel with the cells, but Lando is really sad, so Han actually needs to fly the Falcon, and they end up needing to navigate through that black hole and tentacle monster. We see it in the trailer with the big Star Destroyer, and L3's brain is actually what helps them get the job done. They escape, and the problem is that the fuel cells are unstable, so they need to stop off at this planet so they can stabilize them before they carry on. And Infus and the gang are waiting there for them. And we learn at this point that she's actually a 16-year-old girl, and she's trying to help some rebellion. So that's probably our beloved Rebel Alliance she's talking about. We don't know if Han gives them or not, but we do find out that Lando flies off. He's probably really sad about L3. Han, Kira, and Beckett manage to get to Voss and give him the fuel cells, but Beckett says he's going to stay behind because he's scared to go back there. And he actually ends up double-crossing them. Just like he says in the trailer that, you know, just assume everyone's going to double-cross you. He does it himself. He tells, what's his name, Voss, that the cells are fake, even though they actually are not fake. This leads Beckett to attack Han and Chewie and Kira with his guards. In the process of the fight, Voss and his guards die, and Han decides he's going to go after Beckett for revenge because he's sick of his double-crossing. Kira says she's going to stay behind to speak with her actual boss, and this is the biggest, most coolest thing you're about to hear. Kira's boss is actually, this is the prequel connection, Kira's boss is Darth effing Maul. Holy hell, so he's the criminal boss of Kira. That is insane. And he appears on a hologram, not in person, and it's less than a minute, but it is confirmed that he does speak. So that is going to be badass to see. Maul is just such an awesome character. Kira stays there for the rest of the movie, and we don't see any more of her. Beckett tries to talk Han out of getting his revenge on him, but Han's had enough, and he shoots and kills him. At the end of the movie, Lando and Chewie are going to find at the end of the movie, Han and Chewie are going to find Lando. Han hugs Lando in a way that's very similar to how Lando hugs him in The Empire Strikes Back, but when Han does it, he steals his chi card from his sleeve. Then Han plays Lando in a game of Sabacc for the Falcon, and obviously he ends up winning. The final scene is Han and Chewie flying away, stating that they need to find a big-time gangster, and they are probably referring to Jabba the Hutt. So that is it, guys. That is the entire plot of the Solo film. Now, on paper, seems like a fun ride. Who knows how it'll be in the movie theater itself? I can't tell you that until I've seen it. But, geez, my whole focus is on that Maul thing. That is so freaking cool, man. I hope that we see more of this. Trying to meld all the content, not shying away from incorporating prequel material into these new films, because obviously the prequels weren't critically well received, and I hope that Disney hasn't said, okay, we're gonna just ignore the prequels and just make all content that happens near the time of the original trilogy. It's cool to see that they're using characters from the prequels and they're not shying away from it, because there are a lot of beloved characters in the prequels that deserve some attention. But that is it for this video, guys. Be sure to rate, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the entire plot of Solo: A Star Wars Story. Have an awesome day.